2 years in the dark, we finally have a title, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And as we suspected, this game is all about the massive, seamless world and everything found in it.
Since the world is so central to Breath of the Wild, we thought there'd be no better way than to kick off this new series by taking you on an in-depth dissection of the official world map, and a tour around the provinces and activities before we wrap it up at the Great Plateau. Without further ado, let's get inside Breath of the Wild.
The world of Breath of the Wild is enormous, with giant seas, lakes, rivers, forests, alpine mountains, volcanoes, deserts, canyons, and even tropical areas. But how big is it? And is the final map any different from the map presented at the 2014 Game Awards? Well, the good people at NeoGAF, or more specifically Eggplant, have reached out with a helping hand in this process. According to their approximation, when at the furthest zoom level, each square equals close to 1 square kilometer. The E3 demo area, the plateau, stretches roughly 2 kilometers horizontally and 1.5 kilometers vertically. Seeing that the plateau makes up less than 2% of the entire overworld, this must mean, despite some inaccuracies, that the map of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild will stretch across close to 360 square kilometers or 140 square miles. But how much is 360 square kilometers or 140 square miles?
Way over the 12 Twilight Princess Hyrules that some have suggested, which in itself is huge. Nevertheless, what we all want to know is how big the map is compared to other massive open world games. The best two instances under these terms must be the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim and The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Nevertheless, even with their groundbreaking boundaries, these two examples of RPG excellence do not even reach close to the world of Hyrule in Breath of the Wild. Since Skyrim consists of only 39 square kilometers, and while Witcher 3 fares better with a total of 136 square kilometers, this only counts if you include all of the 4 big maps in the game: Novigrad Valen, White Orchard, Kaer Morhen, and the Skellige Islands. If we only count the main province and map of the game, Novigrad Velen, then we're only left with 72 square kilometers. In other words, not worthy comparisons at all, since with the estimated 360 square kilometers, the world map of Breath of the Wild is much closer to the immersive 400 found in Xenoblade Chronicles X.
It isn't hard to assume that with world ambitions this high, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is aimed to finally dethrone Ocarina of Time as the best game of all time. So there you have it. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild isn't only the biggest Zelda world to date, it's one of the vastest non-vehicle based open world games ever developed.
Nonetheless, there have been brought up several other questions on whether the map of Hyrule has been altered from its first peak during the 2014 Game Awards presentation. We decided to compare the two and see how well they fit together. First and foremost, unlike the previous map, we can see a clear difference by the unexplored provinces being marked on the map apart from the blue boundary lines.
And now we know from the E3 demos, in order to uncover this map, you'll first have to reach the top of that province's Sheikah Tower. This means you'll have to get to these towers in each province without a map, and have no other option but to explore, climb, and navigate your way up to the tower on your own. The northeastern section of the map, which seems to fit well with the previous one, mainly due to the bulge seen in this province's left upper corner, which fits well with the Spectacle Rock or the Skull Lake. Death Mountain. From the Resurrection Tower cutscene in the demo, we know a Sheikah Tower is placed along its trail and that there's a giant creature swarming around it. Based on the tentacles and mechanical body, it's probable that this is a giant Sheikah Guardian. But what could it be doing up there, and what could it be protecting or hiding? Next, we move on over to Snowpeak. As hinted in the trailer, Snowpeak is not merely a peak in Breath of the Wild, but rather an entire alpine mountain range or destination, with settlements and shrines where we'll get full utilization of Link's climbing abilities, the paraglider, the winter coat quilted shirt, and the shield in order to slide down the big icy mountain range. To perform a 360, press Y. Press 3 times for Zelda 1080.
We are moving downwards to Zora's River in Hyrule Castle, which we all know holds the seal of Calamity Ganon through the 4 Sheikah pillars. Interestingly, the castle is located in the exact same location as the other castle was in Ocarina of Time, but at a lower altitude than during the era of the Hero of Time. It's as if it fills out a missing piece of land. Could it be that the plateau is the loved and dear area, which the current castle replaced? Moving on, the entire province of Hyrule Field in Breath of the Wild is just as we predicted in Zelda Unknown, near to identical in shape to the one found in Ocarina of Time. Psst! It's totally Hyrule Field from Ocarina of Time! Under these circumstances, perhaps a new Lon Lon Ranch will appear, since the one from the era of the Hero of Time seems to be in utter ruin, as seen in this gameplay footage against the highly mobile-possessed Guardian.
Located southeast from Hyrule Field and in between the rivers springing out from Lake Hylia is Twin Peak. From this brief gameplay footage, we can see that the trail goes along the mountain and the Sheikah Tower is located at its bottom. The river that streams towards Lake Hylia is also visible, and to the west is the Great Plateau with the Temple of Time clearly visible.
Nonetheless, what's really catching in this footage in the short scene from the E3 trailer, caught at the Great Bridge of Hylia, is this floating island up high above the sky. Could this be possibly Skyloft from Skyward Sword, or the City in the Sky from Twilight Princess? If so, maybe the Loft Wings or the Sky Cannon will make a return to Breath of the Wild. We know we're circling around the plateau a lot now, but we need to give a shout out to the Grand Canyon area. In this footage, we see Link with a different hairstyle and clothing jumping down from one of the Sheikah towers. Topography worth to mark in this area is the oasis and tower to the right, but what do we see while paragliding next to this bridge? A quite interesting NPC that might hint the inclusion of a new race in this game.
If that was not enough, take a look at the shrine at the bottom of the canyon and what is hidden below the clouds. Yes, that could be Lost Woods, and we all know what is hidden there. So we're just about to reach the Great Plateau, but we also need to give a little word to the massive desert to the north of the canyon on the map, which might or might not be Gerudo Desert. Nonetheless, based on the massive bones and the Stakoblins, it is probable that this area will be filled with giant monsters and boss encounters. With that out of the way, we have reached our final destination, the plateau, with its varied areas from central Hyrule with the Temple of Time, and right next to it the Eastern Abbey. Hint, it is not really an abbey. The Forest of Spirits hides Steppe Talus and might be named and inspired by the location found in Princess Mononoke. Nevertheless, what is a giant open world without a balanced amount of content and activities? And the plateau delivers it in spades, ranging from joking around with the runes on the Sheikah slate, or the wide arsenal of breakable weapons, prize mini-bosses, climbing, cutting down massive trees, jumping, blowing up Bokoblin strongholds, stealth, hunting, cooking, rolling down rocks, changing your attire for specific areas, sail and raft, paragliding, shield surfing, and much, much more. If you want, you can even set the whole world on fire, since most of the surrounding grass and trees are flammable.
Just imagine how the possibilities will be expanded beyond the plateau, beginning from capturing and taming horses, and probably dozens of other activities that will be present in Breath of the Wild. Even then, the plateau in the E3 demo was a limited version as a settlement, and all NPCs apart from the old man and the Sheikah monks in the shrines were stripped from the demos.
This was also confirmed in an interview conducted between IGN and Bill Trinan, where Bill told an essential character placed not too far from the Great Plateau. Out there, you can talk to the NPCs and learn about the story, or get a mission. As stated, the world in Breath of the Wild is a backdrop to the story, and Nintendo's aim this E3 was to introduce the world itself, not the story, which didn't hurt since in this game the world is just a backdrop.
With that in mind, we will give you the following choice for the next episode of Inside Breath of the Wild. Do you want us to talk about the missing settlements and NPCs, or the game's story? Vote by commenting below. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, then please like, share, favorite, comment, and if you do not want to miss any episode in this series, videos on Zelda, Breath of the Wild, or the Nintendo NX, then subscribe to Commonwealth Realm. As some of you are aware, YouTube decided to surprise us by doing a subscriber purge, so we are now back to below 20,000. If you would be so kind as to subscribe if you haven't already, that would be great, as we wish to regain that spot at the 20k subscriber list. Also, do not forget to subscribe to Zeltik.
Until the next video, this was the Commonwealth Realm,
and we will see you girls and guys
soon.